Imagine for a moment a single, pristine sheet of paper. It is flat, two-dimensional, and seemingly fragile. To most, it represents a blank canvas or a simple medium for a grocery list. But in the hands of a master, this humble rectangle possesses a hidden, mathematical power. With a series of precise creases, mountain folds, and valley folds, that flat surface begins to defy its own nature. It rises from the table, gaining structural integrity, depth, and a complex geometry that can mimic the wings of a crane or the intricate petals of a blooming lotus. For centuries, this was seen merely as a delicate art form, a meditative pastime born in the East. But today, we are witnessing a silent revolution. The ancient art of origami has escaped the confines of the craft room and entered the laboratory, the operating theater, and the cold vacuum of space. We are beginning to realize that the universe itself might be written in the language of folds. The story of origami does not begin with paper, but with the human desire to transform the mundane into the extraordinary. While paper was invented in China nearly 2,000 years ago, it was in Japan where the practice of folding truly took root. In the early days, paper was a luxury commodity, a precious material reserved for religious ceremonies and the elite. It was used to wrap offerings to the gods or to create formal decorations for Shinto weddings. This wasn't just about aesthetics, it was about intention. Every fold was a prayer, a gesture of respect, a way to imbue a simple object with spirit. By the Edo period, as paper became more accessible, origami evolved into a popular culture phenomenon. The first book on the subject, published in 1797, wasn't a scientific manual, but a guide titled How to Fold 1,000 Cranes. It was a pursuit of beauty, symmetry, and patience. For centuries, origami remained stagnant as a traditional craft, passed down through generations of oral tradition. That changed in the mid-20th century with a man named Akira Yoshizawa. He is often called the grandmaster of modern origami, and for good reason. Yoshizawa developed a system of dots and dashes to represent folds, a universal language that allowed folders across the globe to communicate. But more importantly, he introduced wet folding, a technique that allowed for soft, organic curves rather than sharp, geometric lines. Yoshizawa didn't just fold paper, he sculpted it. He proved that origami was not a closed system of rigid rules, but a fluid medium of infinite possibility. As Yoshizawa was revolutionizing the art, mathematicians were beginning to take notice. They looked at a folded crane and didn't just see a bird, they saw a complex network of vertices and angles. They began to ask, what are the fundamental laws governing these folds? Can we use mathematics to predict how any shape can be created from a single square? This curiosity birthed the field of computational origami. Scientists like Robert Lang, a former NASA physicist, began using algorithms to solve folding problems that were previously thought impossible. They discovered that the same principles used to fold a paper insect with 60 legs could be applied to some of the most pressing challenges in modern engineering. This is where the revolution truly takes flight, literally. Space exploration is perhaps the most demanding frontier for engineering. When we launch a rocket, we are limited by the size of the fairing, the nose cone that protects the payload. How do you fit a solar array the size of a football field or a telescope mirror 30 feet wide into a cylinder only 5 meters across? The answer, as it turns out, is origami. In 1995, Japanese astrophysicist Koryo Miura developed what is now known as the Miura-Ori fold. It is a method of folding a flat surface into a tiny, compact shape that can be deployed with a single pull from two opposite corners. Unlike traditional folds, which require multiple movements, the Miura-Ori unfolds simultaneously in two directions. It was first used to deploy solar panels on a Japanese satellite, and today its descendants are being used by NASA to design massive star shades giant, sunflower-shaped shields that will unfurl in deep space to block the light of distant stars, allowing us to photograph planets orbiting them. But the influence of origami doesn't stop at the edge of our atmosphere. It is moving inward into the very fabric of our bodies. In the world of medicine, folding is a matter of life and death. Consider the humble heart stent. To save a patient with a blocked artery, a surgeon must navigate a device through a narrow vessel and then expand it at the site of the blockage. Engineers have turned to origami to design stents that can be collapsed into a microscopic profile and then bloom into a rigid, supportive structure once they reach their destination.